What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Merry Christmas, happy holiday. I'm finally back to filming a video and I feel so much better. I'm so much happier. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. So today I wanted to do a sit down video and talk about my delivery. Is that what it's called? What is it called? I guess I wanted to do a sit down video with you guys to talk to you guys about my delivery, what went wrong, what happened, what I've learned, what you should look out for as a pregnant woman or as a new mom to be, all the things that you should think about. So for those of you who don't know, I do have a toddler. He's 3 years old and I had natural birth with him. And then my 3 weeks old, it was a cesarean birth. So the reason why I went for a cesarean birth was because at 39 weeks and a few days, my baby was measuring about 9.5 pounds. So my OBs recommended that it would not be a good idea to do vaginal birth, and they recommended a cesarean birth because I had gestational diabetes and they were worried about the shoulders being too big so the baby doesn't have shoulder distortion. I think that's what it's called. And so they recommended that I go in for a cesarean. So long story short, I went in for a cesarean. The baby was born. The baby was about 8 pounds. The baby was 8 pounds, 13 ounces, as opposed to 9 pounds, 9.5 pounds that the ultrasound had measured him to be. So everything went well. During the delivery, I don't know if you guys saw my delivery vlog. I was so sick. I was throwing up. And those are things that can possibly happen with all the medicine that they put in you to do the cesarean birth. But at some point, I realized, yes, baby. So everything was going right. I was throwing up. I was feeling sick. So the baby came out. Everything was fine. My toddler is in the room. Again, no privacy. Everything was fine. And then while they were putting me on the bed to take me to the recovery room, I started getting, so before they put me on the delivery bed, so while they were like taking the baby out, my OB comes to me while I'm laying flat like this, and she's like, Winnie, we just wanted to get your consent just in case something goes wrong. You are losing a lot of blood, more than normal. Okay, more than usual. You are losing a lot of blood, more than usual. I forgot the count, the blood count that I lost, but I did lose a lot of blood while I was doing the cesarean birth. It didn't stop. While I was having a cesarean birth. And so she said, just in case anything does go wrong, would you be open to getting blood transfusion? And for me, I'm not opposed to anything medically that's going to help me. So I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. As long as I'm alive and my baby's okay, like I'm okay with it. And so so they went ahead, they did everything. Luckily, I was fine. They put me on the stretcher to take me to, I guess, a different room. And bam, this big headache. God bless you, baby. Bam, this big headache hit me in my head from nowhere. And I remember like not seeing anything. And I was just like, oh my God, my head hurts. And they were like, what? I was like, my head hurts. I can't feel anything. It was just like right in the middle of my head. And so they pumped me with stuff and they were like, how is it now? On the scale of 1 to 3, how's your pain? And like literally in like 3 to 5 seconds, the headache disappeared. That was good. So I go to this room, they checked me, everything was fine. And then they moved me up to the recovery section. It didn't stop, please. No, close the And then they moved me up to the recovery section where I was supposed to be for the duration of my time being at the hospital. So I get there, everything is fine. You know, I'm excited, I'm exhausted, I'm swollen. I get into the room. And, you know, everything was fine. So they do their regular checkups, their procedure. They want you to get up and walk and, you know, be able to use the bathroom. You have to be able to fart. You have to be able to poop, you know, before they know that things are going well. And so when I get to the recovery room, so after like a few hours, they wanted to make sure that I can get up and walk. And you guys, I got up and I was like, whoa, like... It was like I got hit by a truck. Like I couldn't see anything. I was dizzy. And they were like, oh my God, because you lost so much blood, you know, you're not okay, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm fine. And I was like, no, I'm fine. Like, I tried, I went to the bathroom, you know, but I couldn't do, excuse my French, my language. I couldn't do number 2, which was normal, and I couldn't fart. That's one thing that they wanted you to do before you left the hospital. Like, they wanted you to be able to fart a lot. But that's something that I wasn't able to do. So I get back, and so my doctors came in, and they're like, Winifred, are you okay? Do you want us to give you a blood transfusion? Because you seem like, because you lost so much blood, we're kind of concerned about you. That's actually like the easiest part. So I was like, oh no, I'm fine. And a few days after, I was feeling better. So it comes the day for me to get discharged, to go home. And usually when you get pregnant, you get swollen everywhere. It's normal. So I was swollen on my arm and my legs, and that was about it. Everything else was pretty much normal. All the doctors and the nurses came in, and they were like, they checked me, everything was fine. And they keep asking me, is anything hurting, or you know, are you sore anywhere? And I will always show them my hand. It's like, oh, my arm is swollen. And they were just like, they looked at it, and everyone just kind of like wrote it off as it's normal pregnancy sign when you're pregnant, that you get swollen, and that it's nothing that's going to go down. So the day that I was getting discharged, I was getting ready because Aiden was home. He was missing me. It was the first time I've ever been away from him. So one of my OBs comes in, and she says, okay, are you sure you want to go home, because this is too soon? So I went in on a Wednesday to deliver, and by Friday I was ready to go home. Like, I couldn't stay at the hospital anymore. I was missing my son Aiden. So she was like, this is so weird, Winifred, why do you want to go home? And it's like, I miss my son so much, and he misses me. He's acting up. He's not eating. He's not sleeping. I want to go home to him. And she's like, I get it, but your health comes first. And I was like, I just want to go home to my son. And this new baby, like, I'm like so exhausted at the hospital. I was feeling alone because my husband had to be at the house most of the time. And because of COVID, I couldn't have visitors at the hospital. So it was only my husband that was coming in. So I was feeling bored at the hospital. I just wanted to come home. And so she was so concerned. And at that point, I was getting frustrated. Like, why wouldn't you let me go home? Like, if I told you I'm okay, why don't you just let me go home? But she was like, no. Like, we need to make sure you're okay because you lost so much blood. We don't want you living here and fainting and passing out, God forbid, you know. But whatever. So she decided that because I said and I looked like I was okay, she said, okay, let me do a final checkup on you before I discharge you on a Friday night. So I said, okay. So she like checks my legs. They're still swollen. She checked my arm. She said, is anything hurting? Again. So I showed her my arms again. And I said, oh, just my arm is swollen and my legs. She checked my legs and she's like, they were fine. And then she checked my arms. They were extremely swollen. Like, my ring finger was like really big. I wish I can insert a picture for you guys. And she's like, let me see your other hand. So I showed her this hand. This hand was normal, but this was extremely massive. And she's like, something does not seem right. And I was like, here we go again. Like, I just want to go home. Just please send me home. And she's like, something doesn't seem right. So she's touching me and she says, does it hurt? And I said, it hurts a little. And she said, did they put the IV on your hand? I said, yeah, the IV was on this side of my hand. And she's like, yeah, something doesn't seem wrong because normally when you give birth, the swelling should be evenly. It should spread out evenly. I forgot the word she used. That the swelling should be spread out evenly. But for some reason, why is one hand swollen and the other one was not swollen? And she felt like something was not right. So she said, you know what? I cannot let you go home. Let's do a scan on your arm just to make sure everything is okay. And at that point, I threw the F-bomb in my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, like this lady does not want me to go home. Little did I know, God had a better plan for me because every nurses and doctors that came into that room have asked me the same question, and I've showed them this arm and I said, this hand is swollen and it's a little bit, it hurts a little bit, and everyone just like wrote me off like, you're fine. It's normal. But God has a different plan for me. So when this lady comes in, this is my second time actually seeing her in my whole life. So when she came into the room and she said, we need to do a scan, I was already hating her at this point. So I was like, even all the nurses were like, in their mind, like, they're not going to find anything. To lo and behold, if that's a word, we went for a scan. Come to find out, the reason why my arms were swollen was because I had a blood clot in my left arm, right next to my elbow, and that's why I have a compression socks or whatever on my arms right now. So the scan showed that I had blood clot in my arm, and that's why it was swollen, and that has saved my life. I had no idea about things like this, that you can give birth and possibly, God forbid, die from a blood clot. That happens, because actually it's not normal, but it does happen, and a lot of us don't know about things like that. This is something that I had no idea about. To know that I had a blood clot in my arm was just like mind-blowing to me. And at that point, I didn't understand what it was. I was just like, so one of the doctors who checked the x-ray comes in, and at this point I was ready to go home, and he says, yes baby, I'm talking. At this point, when he came in and he was talking to me, all I was worried about is going home, and I asked him, can I treat myself at home? And he's like, sure. So this doctor comes in, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, she's again. And she's like, Winifred, this is very severe. Like, there's no way we can send you home. We have to start treatment right now. We have to get people to come in and get measurements of your arm and send you compression socks. And I was like, oh my God, I started crying. And you guys know when you give birth, you're like full of emotions. I started crying. At that point, Aiden calls me, and while he called me, I was bawling on the phone because I had to tell him that I couldn't come home, even though I had promised him that I was coming home. So she took the phone and she talked to my son, and she's like, Aiden, Mommy's not coming home tonight. She's going to be home tomorrow. So long story short, now I'm home. It's been almost a month after. So I am doing my treatment at home. So I am taking Lubinox. So Lubinox is an injection. It's a blood thinner injection that you have to inject under your skin twice a day. So I am doing that twice a day in my stomach, which is like the hardest thing. Like, I have a phobia of needles, and here I am taking Lubinox and injecting myself. Hey, don't do that. That's dangerous. Here I am injecting myself with Lubinox every single day, twice a day. I'm going to show you guys what the needle looks like so you can see. This is Lubinox. I have opened this, obviously. So this is the injection I'm taking, and you guys see how long this syringe is. It is really long. I'm scared of needles, and this is something that I have to do twice a day, and I have to do this for 3 months. I know it's rough. I have to do this for 3 months, and then I have appointment with hematology so they can keep an eye on the clot on my arm to make sure it is dissolving. This is a blood thinner, so it is very dangerous for me to get hurt right now. So this is my pregnancy update. So I hope if you are pregnant or planning to get pregnant or delivering a baby, I hope you'd say what's wrong with you after your delivery. Don't be scared. Don't be too strong to be like, oh, I can handle it. I can be better. Because God forbid this doctor, God never sent her to come to my room, I probably wouldn't even be here today to be sharing this testimony with you guys. So I am so grateful that I was able to speak up whenever something was wrong with me. I was able to say to whoever was asking, and luckily I said something. So luckily I was able to say, and I was able to tell her, and everything worked out well. Aiden, yeah, so this is my testimony to you guys, and this is my pregnancy update. I hope this has helped you out. Always speak up for whenever you feel pain. If you had any kind of surgery, don't be scared. It is hard to have a baby, but I would do a baby update for you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.